Now we'll see how to create a logical partition with the help of HMC web interface on an IBM P-series machine. So before going to do that, so we need to log into the HMC web interface. Open the web browser and type the URL. lab.axonlinetraining.com. This is my HMC IP address or the host name. This is the HMC hardware management console version 7 and release 7. Now click on this URL, log on and launch the hardware management console web application. Click here. So it will prompt you to enter the user ID and password. Default user ID is this is the root password, root admin for the HMC. HSC root is the root user, and we need to enter the password. Now we need to select the systems management, and then click on servers. And here we have the IBM P series machine. Its name is defined as a new access VA-VAO. So this is a P server, P series machine. Just click on the server. It will show all the logical partitions which is already created on this frame. And when come to the bottom, the task menu. So this is the task panel. Click on the configuration, because now we are going to create a logical partition on this frame. Click on configuration, and then we need to select the create logical partition option here, or you can click on expand this. Here we have two options. So one is AX or Linux profile you can create, and another one is the VAO server. If we want to install the AX operating system or a Linux operating system, so we need to select the AX or Linux. If you want to create a VAO server, if you want to install a VAO server to configure the VAO server, you need to select the VAO server. Now we are going to create a AX logical partition. So in the next class, we are going to install the OS on this machine. Select AX or Linux. So this is the first screen you will get before creating a logical partition. So so what is the partition ID? You can see here already there is a, you can see different partition IDs are there. So whichever is free, it will collect automatically. It will collect, or you can assign a number for this partition ID, and we can create a profile name. Now we'll create a profile of the name will be test profile. So it's not mandatory to give this test profile. We can define with any name. So example, new profile. Now I am giving test profile, and then click on next. So before going to that, I want to show something. So here, this is the process. This is the steps where we are going to create a logical partition. Now I am creating a partition profile. So I'm assigning a partition ID and the test profile name, and then we need to assign the process, because of system requirement a processor. So we need to define the processor, and so we have some settings are there for this processor, and then we need to assign the memories, and we need to set the memory settings like minimum, maximum, and desired. So after that we have to assign IOs. IOs are network cards, virtual SCSI adapters, or virtual fiber channel adapters. So this virtual SCSI or fiber channel adapters, they will use it to connect to the storage, that is like disk. And this IO means these are all physical devices. If you want to create virtual device, you need to, and then after assigning, or it's not mandatory to assign the physical adapters or physical device to the logical partition. The logical partition will support either physical or virtual. So after this assigning our physical devices, so we need to select virtual adapters. So once it is completed, so there is some optional settings are there. So we need to select those things, and then we'll get a profile summary. So this is the configuration of your profile. So that is the final step, and then we can finish the partition creation activity. Now just I assign create a partition. Just click on the next button. Now it's asking for partition profile name. So you can see this is the partition name and this is the profile name. Partition name will be, it's only one, it's a unique in that main system. And when come to the partition profiles, this partition we may have more than one partition profile for each logical partition. So now here I'm going to assign a name first profile. So later we can create multiple profiles for a single logical, for each logical partition. We can activate that logical partition with a different profiles. But each time also we can activate with only one profile. See, a profile, it specifies how many processors are and how many memories, about how much of memory we have to assign this profile having, and which IO devices and slots are allocated to this partition. So every partition needs a default profile to create the default profile. So specify how much specify the following information. So now I am assigning the profile name. So later then we can go and assign the CPU and all these things. And you need to remember one thing, and don't click this use all the resource in the system, this option. If you select this after starting the IBM P-series frame, P-series server, if you start the logical partition, there is a first profile, or if you start this test profile, so automatically if you select this option, automatically whatever the physical resources, all the resources in this frame will be allocated to this logical partition. So once you start that, so we cannot start the remaining logical partition. So don't select this until if you want to install a single partition on this entire frame, you need to select this, use all the resource in the system. I'm assigning the name first profile. We can give any name here and click on next. Now it's time to select the process. So how much of processing units we need to assign to this logical partition. So you can assign entire process to your logical partition for dedicated use, or you can assign a partial processing units from the shared processor pool to this logical partition. So if you select the dedicated partition, so we need to give the entire single processing unit. I will show an example here, and this is my frame. Just click on the properties, click the process. Here we have, here in my system, in this frame, I have two processes. If I select the processor, dedicated processor, I can assign either one or two. So minimum I can assign one, and maximum I can assign two. So if I select a dedicated processor, I can able to create the logical partitions maximum two logical partitions, because dedicated will will consume so one physical processor. if you want to select the shared, actually this micro partition feature, it enables a logical partition to be allocated a percentage of a processor usage rather than a full processor, physical processor. So, so in the if we dedicated, we had assigning a whole unit, whole processor to the logical partition. In the shared option, we can assign the partial processor units. Like for example, I have one. So if I want to assign some processing units, I can assign 0.1 or 0.5 or 1.25. So in the fractions, we can add the process here. Now I'm going to select share and click on next. Here we need to assign, we need to fill this form, process settings form. So total usable processing units are 2 I have. In that, so how much processing units I need to assign, I need to decide here. So the minimum processing unit, if you want to start the logical partition, the minimum processing units are 0.1. So later, so we can increase with 0.11, 0.12 like that. Now I'm giving minimum processing units 1. So later I can give either 2 or 1. I can give any of that. And my exam, I'm going to assign 3. And what are these values? Maximum, minimum processing units, desired processing units, and maximum processing units. So maximum processing unit, minimum processing unit is if this value, this amount of processing units is not available on the system when you're going to start this partition. So the system it won't start up. And this is the minimum limit. If you are going to decrease the size of this CPU resource on this logical partition, this is the minimum value. So we cannot go below 0.1 processing. For example, if I assign 0.2 processing units, if I want to decrease to the 0. I cannot go below this 0.2. So like that in the desired processing unit. So the desired processing units is the entitled capacity of this CPU capacity of this logical partition. For example, if I assign 4, so the system it will show once you install the server and log into this X partition, if you run the LPar stat or any command, so it will show the entitled capacity. So this is the 0.4 processing units is the entitled capacity. It will show 4 process in the system, and the maximum value and the maximum processing units or the maximum processing units. So by using the DL per activity, so we can increase the logical partition CPU size from 0.4 to maximum 0.5. For example, if I give here 1, so I can increase dynamically without reactivating the partition from 0.4 to 1 processing unit. So minimum is, so there is a minimum value to start a logical partition, and this is the lowest point, so we can decrease the CPUs to the to this minimum processing units. And desired is the entitled. So what is the current capacity of the system? If you require more processing units, so we can increase the processing units from 0.1 to 1 physical processor or 10 CPUs, 10 processing units. And one more thing, so a partition must have a minimum of 1/10 of the processor. So here I have one processing units. In that 1/10 of processor is 0.1. So that is the minimum. So we cannot go below this. And desired value, so we can give anything. If the desired value is not available, so even the system will start. If the minimum processing unit is not available, so we cannot activate the partition. Given to. Now we have to assign the values to the virtual process. The virtual process settings define the way that a partition's entitled can be spread concurrently over physical process. So here I am giving Here now I'm assigning the processing units. So 0.2, here I'm assigning 2, and on the 0.3 value I'm assigning 0.3. If you give more than 0.2, maximum of 2 processing units or 3 processing units, so for example, I give 4 and click on next, you will get an error. So maximum processing units times 10 must be greater than or equal to the maximum virtual processing unit. Just go back and we can give 10. And you can select the uncapped weight and you can define the value. And this value, it will give the priority of this server when it's going to access the idle CPUs from the shared processor pool. So leave it like default. Click to next. Now we are going to setting memories. So the minimum I am going to assign is 250 MB of memory. So the minimum value, so without this value, so the system cannot be activated. The maximum desired value is 1.128 I'm assigning, and the maximum I can increase up to 2.128. Click on next, and these are the physical adapters on this machine. Now I'm not going to select any physical adapters, so because I want to use virtual adapters. So I'm going to use virtual adapters here. Click on next. So the minimum requirement for a system is we require a disk and a network adapter. So now first I am going to create a virtual adapter for this machine for network communication. Click on actions, select create and create a network adapter. Click on Ethernet. Here we have the values adapter 2 and the VLAN ID 1. So you can leave it like this and click on OK. So actually this access external network and IEEE. So we will use this in the VO server configuration, or if you want to define multiple VLAN IDs, so we need to select this IEEE 802. To select this one, it will allow you to assign different VLAN IDs. We select this adapter is required for partition activation. In case if this adapter is not available while starting the partition it won't start, it won't activate. So no need to select all these options, and don't select this access external network. So it will only use when you select this on the VO server. Click on OK. So it's create one network card here, and we'll create one more network card. Action create Ethernet adapter. And click on OK. And one more important thing is, so the maximum virtual adapters by default is 10. You can increase up to 100 or 50. Now I'm going to give here 20. So that means, so when the system is in a running state, so we can able to create 20, we can add 20 adapters to this partition without reactivating the logical partition. So it won't allow beyond this. So that means up to 20, up to maximum 20 adapters I can create with the LPar ability. Now I'm going to create a SCSI adapter. So by default, it will take the next available number. What was SCSI adapter 4? So what is this? With the help of this virtual SCSI adapter, so we are going to access the disk from the VO server. So here we have the option, we can select any disk which is free on the VMware server. So click on system info. And this is the information we have. So we can select any free disk on the VMware server. So it will show the VMware server adapters and the devices assigned to the logical partition. Here in this example, I'm going to select the server slot 1. This is a slot number on VMware server 1, and it is having the LPar 1 H disk 0 and LPar 1 root 0. So it's having two disks. And click on OK. So you can see the adapter number here, and click on OK. Now the disks are provisioning by VMware server 1. If you want, you can select VMware server 2 also, and click on OK. Now we fulfill the minimum requirement, so network code and the SCSI adapters. So you can assign a disk to this SCSI adapter, and we can also assign a CD-ROM to this SCSI adapter from the VMware server. And click on next. So these are other optional settings. So if you want to start this logical partition automatically when you power on the main system, you can select this. And if you want, so how to boot the system in what mode? So if you want to boot in SMS mode for installation purpose, so every time when you are starting logical partition automatically, it will boot into the SMS mode. So keep it normal. So it is a default one. So this is the normal AX boot option here. Click next, and this is the profile summary. You can see here the partition ID is 6 and the partition name is test profile, and so this partition environment is AX or Linux environment, and profile name is first profile, and desired memory is 1 GB. That means system is going to use 1 GB of memory, 1.128 MB of memory, and it's having two processing units, and there is no physical adapters. If you have any physical adapters shown here, you can click on details. It will show what are the adapters connected to this logical partition, and the boot type is normal, and these are the virtual adapters. Two Ethernet adapters for network communication, one SCSI for disk and for CD-ROM, and serial. So this is a serial, this is a default one. And if we have fiber channel adapters are there, so we can create virtual fiber channel adapters here. And then click on finish. Now we can see the test profile is created on this machine. If you want to activate this profile, select the profile partition name, click on the double arrow and go to the operations, go to active, select the profile. So here we can select the profile. If we have multiple profiles, it will show all the profile names here. Now we have only one default profile. The profile name is first profile. Click on OK. It will start the power on the activate the logical partition. If you want to log into the SMS mode for installation purpose or from other maintaining purpose, so go to the advanced and drop down this menu, click on this and select SMS and click OK. So what it will do, it will boot into the SMS mode where we have option to select the boot devices, and we can do installation, all these things.